All right. Good morning. Or good evening. Good afternoon. I think Petey's the brightest of us right now. It's like 4:30 in the morning. And he's ready to rock. We're at a Super 8 motel. This is a hotel, or I guess 2 stories would be a hotel. Had to improvise last night. So Jim was giving me a bunch of shit last night about my welcome to trucking canceled load, and had to run over here and check into a hotel on my very first night back into trucking. So there's no wasting time. Just got right back into the vibe. So I'm gonna explain why here shortly. It could get worse. We'll find out. But I gotta drive us back over to the customer because he doesn't have his clock back yet, and see if this load's ready. But we'll see if it gets better or worse. Talk to you shortly. Alright, so in the previous clip, I said I was hoping for good news. Is it good news? Oh,
Nope.
while we're here, for those who watched the last video, look behind Jim.
There you go.
Little Peter. Big dreams. There's a lot of story behind that. Maybe we'll get that. I'm just gonna let that percolate with you for this video. But I will say it was rather embarrassing yesterday for the guy at Blue Beacon to point it out when I was sitting in the seat and only just been notified it was there. Jim loved it though.
So did the guy at the Blue Beacon. He was laughing, so he loved it.
Yeah. So as you can see, we were at a hotel, and my warm welcome back into Prime is we had a cancel load, and then we had a load that ain't ready. We're in detention now, and his it wasn't really part of the arrangement or plan for both of us to sleep in a truck. So his truck is not prepared for 2 people to sleep in it. So I had a credit in my Hotels.com account, and last night when I went and talked to Yard Dog to try and get an idea, and he made it pretty clear, without saying it bluntly, that we shouldn't expect that load to be ready anytime soon. So we just bolted and went to a hotel. Petey loved it. I think Petey loved it more than the 2 of us. You can't really see him. Look, can you see his eyes?
As he tried to take himself out.
Petey. Yeah, he tried to jump. We had a room with 2 beds, and he tried to jump between the beds. There was too much space. He went full ham though. He went full Superman. Almost made it. So then we came back here this morning at 4:30. Now the drop dead time on this was 2:35. How does he have a load? Prime truck right in front of us. Is that International?
Yep.
He somehow has his load. We get back over here at close to 5, and the load's still not ready. So it is very likely going to be late to its 90. It's all part of the game. But I did want to, there's been comments on every single video about yellow. And people asking me my thoughts about yellow. Well, let me say, I'm not an analyst or professional in all this shit. I don't know anything about yellow other than what all of you are reading. don't have any kind of inside. Look, it would be crazy for me to try and, I don't know anything. I know what the stories all of you are reading is what I know. But I will say, well, Jim hit on a couple points this morning that, I just think there was a lot of mismanagement. I think a lot of the money that was coming to them wasn't, I think a lot of people who gave a lot of their lives to decades of their lives to the company are left high and dry, and have been left high and dry for some time. But because of what's likely mismanagement, the company just couldn't compete in modern freight markets. At least that's what I've gathered from it. Just reading from everything all of you know. Now, as far as all this freight flooding into other carriers and into the market, that's true. But as Jim and I were talking about at breakfast, which, by the way, there's a donut place right across the street. They have a pretty good breakfast sandwich. You also have to keep in mind that there's tens of thousands of drivers flooding into other carriers. So I don't know exactly how many. I've seen numbers all over the map. Maybe if you drive for Yellow or have any good information, you can let us know in the comments. But I've seen numbers all the way from 30,000 to 70,000, upwards of 70,000. I don't know which of those two ends of the spectrums are right, but the highest that I've seen is up to 70,000 drivers between all the subsidiaries and contracts and all that stuff. So yeah, some of those could retire and just call it quits and say, you know what, F this, after all this, I'm done. But a majority of them are probably going to keep driving, right? They're going to be moving somewhere else. So you have all that freight working its way. Like the freight has to be moved. It's not just going to disappear. It's not going to just sit on the docks. It has to be moved. So all that work is going to go somewhere else. But also, tens of thousands of other drivers are going to move somewhere else. So I don't think it's going to be like some massive tsunami of freight coming into other carriers. There's a couple out there which you all know. How's it pronounced? Sai, I think, and a couple others. You guys know the companies that pull the doubles. They're probably going to benefit the most as far as the carriers because they do the same kind of routes and same kind of freight and all that stuff. But you also have all those drivers. So to the comments out there, I'm going to reference this video for future comments, but you're asking me to give you my thoughts and information and analysis on Yellow. I don't know any more than any of you know. Anyone who's worked for Yellow, has driven for Yellow, has a much better idea than I do. I don't. Now, you guys all know that I have my feelings on the economy and inflation and all that BS, and it's out of control and it's crazy. But I don't know that I would necessarily say that Yellow. There's probably some correlation, but not huge correlation. I think this Yellow situation has been decades in the making. So that's my opinion. Anything to add?
Yeah, and along with the drivers, a lot of them are going to flood the market, the drivers, because the word is that they don't have that pension. Yellow never paid out in the pension, so a lot of them won't be able to retire without that pension.
Yeah, so with the movement of all that freight is going to come the movement of a lot of drivers too. So if you want my opinion on it, the rest of us are not really going to feel it. That's my opinion on it. It's not going to be anything remarkable or hugely noticeable for most of us in the market. that's just what I anticipate. I don't know what all of you are looking for. I mean, if you want to be more specific in comments, maybe I can try and address that. And I'm not like taking a swipe at anyone who's leaving these comments. They're great comments, and thank you for the question. I really appreciate that. But if your comment is, hey, what are your thoughts on Yellow going out of business? I don't really, I don't have any magic 8-ball on it. It's unfortunate. That's what I'll say. It's very unfortunate. Hate to see that with any carrier. I don't ever want to see that happen. Especially when it's such short notice. When someone thinks they've got a retirement, a pension, and they've been working decades and everything's fine on Tuesday, and then Friday night they get told to return their equipment to the terminal and go home. That's awful, man. I wouldn't wish that on an enemy, But as far as its actual analytical impact on the market, I have no freaking clue. So, anyway, all y'all who are driving for Prime, who have spent some time at chicken plants, you know what we're going through. If you're getting into trucking, specifically Prime, you can expect to spend some time at chicken plants. It is going to happen. And it just is what it is. You got to embrace it. You can't let yourself get worked up. We're literally about to watch the sun come up. And we got to drive this 400 miles when it's ready, and then drive another 120 miles to Prime. So that's
where we're getting to hurry up and wait even more, because this one has to go in the shop. You still have to get on yours and then wait for a load out of Prime.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to do a 10 in Springfield. I may have to get a quick fix done in the shop on the Freightliner. I'm not 1,000% sure on that, but this truck definitely has to go in the shop. And Road Assist, we love Road Assist. Nothing but good reviews. Jim was telling me last night that was it this time that they said go to Freightliner?
No, on my way to actually pick you up, I was on another load making my way down the U to pick you up, and it happened, and they sat there and said, all right, well, we'll take it to the shop. And then they tried sending me to a Freightliner dealership with the Peterbilt, and I literally looked, I was like, do they even work on Peterbilts there? And he goes, no, they don't. He goes, give me a minute, let me fix this for you.
Yeah. So they were going to send the Peterbilt to Freightliner for whatever reason. I told him he was lucky. They're so efficient with their responses sometimes that you feel like you could be sitting at Prime and they would tell you to take it to TA and Joplin. That's like always your trailer could be broken in half. We'll be like, can you get it to TA? All right, guys, be safe. Make good decisions. Always drive, thrive. Talk to you soon.